love is not selfish. And is that supposed to be more obvious? That's supposed to be clear, actually. So everybody's supposed to know that love is not selfish. But unfortunately, in Africa today, what people teach in churches is actually that same selfishness. Most pastors, most churches, most teachings in our so-called charismatic churches today are actually promoting selfishness. Most teachings are actually propagating egocentrism. That's against what love stands for. That's directly against what God, who God is. God is love. And love is the direct opposite of selfishness and egocentrism. Meanwhile, churches that are supposed to be propagating love or talking about God, propagating and preaching God, and God is love. So they are supposed to be preaching love, preaching God. Instead of preaching love and God, they are preaching they are using God to promote selfishness and egocentrism. It is the direct antonym, opposite, of who God is and what Christianity stands for. Christianity stands for love, and that means selflessness, not selfishness, but selflessness. Christianity stands for love, and that means service for humanity, service to God, service to another, but definitely not. It's not about self or self-promotion or self-aggrandization, but that is aggrandizement. That is what we are seeing in Christianity today through these African churches. That's what we see. Now, so love is not selfish. Love is not selfish. It means that when I really get to discover love, I stop living for myself. That is a catastrophic statement for a lot of African Christians. How can I stop living for myself? The whole idea of their whole life has been about themselves. Their whole activities and everything they ever do has been about themselves. And here I come, I say, love, if you become a Christian, you don't live for yourself. In fact, as a matter of fact, one of the greatest signs that you are a Christian is when you stop living for yourself. When you begin to think less of yourself, then you are becoming more of Christian. So if you want to gauge your level as a Christian, if you want to put some parameter on how to know if you are a good Christian or not, one of those parameters is how selflessness are you becoming. So if you are becoming more selfless, then you are becoming more Christian. But if you are becoming more greedy and more desiring and more selfish and thinking more about yourself, then it means that you are becoming less Christian. So the more you are a Christian, the less selfish you are. The more you are a Christian, the more selfless you are. The more you are a Christian, the more you think less about yourself. The more you are a Christian, the more you pray less for yourself. The more you are a Christian, the more you worry less about yourself. The more you are a Christian, the less you think or worry or bother about your own life. The more you are a Christian, the more you think about other people. The more you are a Christian, the more you think about the good of others, about humanity, about God, about his kingdom, about the nation, about the society. You don't think about yourself. Love is not selfish. Love is not selfish. So love is not selfish. And what is love? Love is God. God is love. So it means God is not selfish. And if you are a believer in God, you cannot be selfish. If you know God, you will not be selfish. So anybody who knows God, the proof that he knows God is in how less selfish he is. Anybody that comes to you and say they are believers or they are pastors, you will not read selfishness in their messages. But if you go to Africa today, everything is about selfishness. A pastor could come and say, I need 10 people to give $1 billion each. 1 billion naira each. So you say that is not selfishness because he wants to build the house of God? Good. Let's agree that he wants to build the house of God. But in that same church, there are people who are hungry, who cannot afford 3 square meals. But you want to build your own ministry. Whereas if anybody in that church can afford 1 billion naira, that 1 billion naira, do you know how many people it can feed? You know how many people it can take care of? You know how many students it can take off the street? Because to take a student off the street and send them back to school for 1 year, it's only $30 you need. With 1 billion naira, you can take almost of 1 million of those children. And then someone is saying, give it to me, let me use it for brick and metal. And you are saying that there are no selfishness there. What does it gain? You say, oh, but there will be a place for you to sit. No, people are sitting even now too. It's not about people sitting down or where to sit. It's about ego. To buy an airplane, it costs millions of dollars. There are billions of naira. So one airplane will take 1 million children out of school. But instead of people doing that, what do? They take people's money, these same people's money, and buy themselves an airplane. So selfishness is what you say. If you hear any pastor, any Nigerian pastor talking, they are talking about the size of their church, the size of their congregation, how much they are expanding, what next they are going to build. That's all selfishness. They are not talking about how many people they feed. They are not talking about how many people they set free, how many people they send to school, how many people have been delivered from poverty, how many houses have been built for people, how many things have been done for other people. It's all about their ministry. Our ministry now has this thing. Our church now has this thing. Oh, we now have our own band. Oh, it's selfishness. All the talk about church, us, that is against love. It's against love. Love is not selfish. All those things are against the nature of God. And if you are selfish, you don't know God. Because God is selfless. So for you to know God, if you know God, you will know that God is not selfish. If you know God, you will know that most of your resources are supposed to be directed at taking care of other people. If you know God, you will not be taking from people, and especially from desperate, poor people who cannot afford 3 square meters. You are still taking tithe and offering from them. Even in the Old Testament, there was no tithe and offering from the poor. God didn't allow for the orphans, the widows, and the poor to pay tithe. Why? Because the tithe is meant to be given to them. But today, you want to take tithe and offering from even the most desperate, from everybody, because you want to build your own ministry. Is that not selfishness? Love is not selfish. It means, and if you are selfish, it means you don't know God, because God is not selfish. So one of the ways to know if somebody knows God or not, and if you go to your church, find out what your church is doing, what your church is talking about. Do they just talk about themselves? Do they just talk about their own projects? Do they just talk about their own programs? Do they just talk about their own expansion? Do they keep on pushing people to give for their expansion, for their growth, for their this and that? That is an indicator for you, or indication for you, that is a selfish church. And if the church is selfish, it means the church doesn't know God. A selfish church doesn't know who God is. A selfish community's fellowship doesn't understand God. If a church is selfish, it means that church doesn't know who God is. If a church is selfish, it means that church does not understand who God is. If a church is if a pastor, a GO is selfish, it means that pastor, that GO doesn't know who God is. If you listen to most of our GOs and most of those things, you listen to their speeches, you will see that it's all talking about their greatness. They want to get that or more. They are building that. They are doing this. It's all about selfishness. And God is not selfish. If they love God, they will not be selfish. Why? Because love is not selfish. If they love God, they will not be selfish, because love takes care of other people. Love will be selfless. Love will be sacrificial. Love will take care of other people. Love is not selfish, because God is not a selfish God. God is a kind God. So to know God is to be like God. To understand God is to operate like God. And who is God? God is not selfish. To love God is not to be selfish. Love itself is not selfish. It means that to believe in God is to be like God and not to be selfish, to be selfless. So knowing, because love is not selfish, which means when you learn to love, you will learn not to be selfish. And when you learn not to be selfish, it means you are learning to become like God. And when you become like God, you are becoming like Him. It means you know Him. It means you begin to understand God and operate like God. So when we say love is not selfish, that is a pathway for you to know God and understand God. When God is not selfish and you train yourself to not be selfish, it means you are understanding the nature of God. You are becoming like God himself. Because now you are not selfish too. You begin to understand and think like God. You begin to have the same feeling like God. That is how you know God. That is why love is one of the easiest ways for us to discover who God is. So when you love people selflessly, you are becoming like God. You are taking on the nature of God upon yourself. Love is not selfish, and that is a thing that will help you to bring you to the knowledge of who your Father is as a loving God that is not selfish. But when we are talking about churches in Africa today, all the teachings they are preaching, all their messages is pushing you and telling you on how to be greedy. Unfortunately, most of the churches in Africa right now is just teaching you about greed. They are telling you, come to church, they will be promising you, oh, you will get this, you will get that. You will get this blessing, you will get that blessing. Oh, you will come to this church will give you this miracle, that church will give you that miracle. Oh, this church has more miracle than that miracle. Oh, you come, you will get your healing. Oh, you come, you will get your breakthrough. Oh, give the money, you will get it multiplied. Oh, this more money will come for you for this. Oh, more of this will come for you today. Oh, believe and come for this. Oh, do this. It's all making you to think more about yourself. Whereas Christianity is supposed to help deliver you from yourself. Christianity is supposed to help you become more, to become less egocentric, less selfish, more selfless. Christianity is supposed to help you to get rid of your ego. Christianity is supposed to help you to get rid of greed. But right now, the kind of churches that we see in Africa is rather teaching you greed. Even if you are not greedy before, now church is teaching you about greed. Even if you are caring about others before, now church is only talking about you and your own blessing, So you are now becoming more selfish when you become Christian. So that's why people don't know God in those churches. And a lot of those people are deceived. Because even though they are in churches, but they don't know God, and they will be shocked when they get to heaven. Because if you don't know God, the Bible says if you don't know love, you don't know God. And you cannot you cannot walk in love, there is no way you can get to heaven. Love and the knowledge of God we need a whole makeover, a whole, turnaround, a whole reconstruction of the concept of church and Christianity in Africa. Because Christianity is bringing more damage to people's mind, to people's value system. It's making us egocentric. These churches are making us egocentric, and that is not Christianity, by the way. Those are what we call Christians, but they are really paganistic centers. They are really syncretism. They are not practicing Christianity. Love is not selfish. You go, if you don't believe me, you don't need to believe me. You go and examine the teachings of your own pastor. Take 52 Sundays, the 52 Sundays in a year, and go and analyze those teachings. What is the main message about? You will see that the main message is about you. It's concentrating on you to make you to get more things, to have more things, to become more greedy, to have more things, to bless you more. It's either about you or about their church. Whereas Christianity is supposed to be you preferring others above yourself. You loving others. Christianity is supposed to be teaching you how to love others, how to care for others, how to love God more. But you can look into a 10-year history of any church in Africa, and you will not see any teaching about how to love God. You will not see any teaching about how to know God. You will not see any teaching about how to understand God. You can go to churches in Africa for, for 20 years, for 30 years, and you will not hear one message on how to know God, how to love Him. That is why people are becoming more selfish. And if you are selfish, you are not serving God, you are serving yourself. You are serving idols. So most Christians, people who call themselves in Christ in Nigeria, they are actually serving idols without themselves knowing. So Love is not selfish. And what does selfishness bring you to? If you are selfish, what does that bring you to? Selfishness destroys you. Either you like it or you don't like it, selfishness will destroy your life. Now, there are different kinds of destructions. Okay, for example, somebody could be selfish and become a drug addict. You can see that is obvious. You can easily see obvious destruction. He's a drug addict, he's homeless, he's lost. That is physical, obvious destruction. But you might be a pastor, a GO, a bishop. Because you are selfish, your life has actually been destroyed, but nobody will see it. Your spiritual content has been destroyed. That's why most churches in Nigeria, all these big men of God, they don't even know that they are missing it. Or maybe they know, but they cannot. They are manipulating people. Their conscience is destroyed. The fear of God is gone. They have become blind and dead spiritually. They are not even feeling that something is wrong. That is even a worse condition than to be a drug addict. That is a worse condition than to be homeless. So I'm going to show you a film right now that will tell you about what the devastating effect of selfishness. I'm going to show you, not a film, actually, it's an interview, it's a documentary. When you see this devastation that you're going to see here, is the same devastation that selfishness creates, even in the so-called Hollywood people, or in the so-called bishops and GOs and the big churches. The same effect, the same kind of result of devastation is going on in their lives, even though you don't see it. You might be copying them, you might be envying them, you might be thinking that they are good, they are doing well, but really, they are going through devastation. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this video, or this video here. And it's a very pathetic video, very sorrowful one, very sorry kind of video. But it just tells you how devastating selfishness is, how destructive selfishness is. That's why God doesn't encourage selfishness. That's why God is the opposite of selfishness. But selfishness is a characteristic of Satan. Belongs to the kingdom of darkness. It's the very opposite of God. And this is what our churches are preaching about. Let's have a look here about this video. Let's have a look.
I've been at the top there before coming down. But then I just want to tell my listeners that the devil don't give anything for free. I went to good schools, Datius Preparatory. From there, I went to Kwabutwe. I am from Kwabutwe. I went to Achimota School. From Achimota College, sixth form, I went to the Institute of Journalism. But then, the journalism was not really paying. I was working with the BBC. It was not paying like today. Though it was a satisfactory job. But then, my lifestyle was so big, I wanted to impress. So, I started dealing in drugs. My first one that I took was India Hemp, and that one was for somebody, and I was a career. I made $4,000, and then my second trip, I made $8,000. And I said, look, come on, let me do it by my own. I went about 4 trips with India Hemp, and I realized that we was...
Your trip to where?
I made a trip to Italy. I made a trip to Switzerland. I made a trip to United States. And then after that, I started dealing with cocaine. And with the cocaine, I was a big boy. As at 1982, December, I was controlling $162,000. I made basket of dollars at Wilbur Hotel, which is now a bank opposite bus stop. And I had a lot of hunger, so I don't take taxi because I felt taking a taxi is a humiliation. I change cars every 2 months. From Jaguar HJS1, I brought Lincoln Continental. The only car I've never brought down here was a Bentley and then a Rolls Royce. Then I was busted in 1984 to March, and it was one of the biggest catch of cocaine from the continent of Africa. That is 142 tons. Yes, I was busted, and then I made a little bit of time because my passport shows that I was younger. But then if you see me with my gray hair, you think I'm 75 or 80. Yes, because after I left jail and then came back, I lost all my friends. As for the women, when you have deeper pockets and you have a lot of dollars, they call you honey. But when you get broke and you develop holes in your pocket, they make themselves conveniently unavailable. They vanish. The friends vanish. Out of frustration, me myself, I started to use the drug. Believe me, don't ever go there. Don't let anybody deceive you. Heroin and cocaine. Because with cocaine, when you have 100 million now, within the next 4 hours, you're going to get broke. It will get finished. Yes, and with the heroin, once you start taking it, excuse me, once you start taking it, within a 1 month, you get what they call cold turkey. Without it, you can't survive. Your social life, your physical life, you can't even travel. For a long time, I didn't travel. I don't go to funerals because when I go to maybe Kumasi and the cold turkey, I don't have some on the stock or it runs out, I will have cold turkey. And what is cold turkey? You have stomach cramps, you have rheumatism type of things, and it's the only thing that follows you to your dream. Even your dream, when you have cold turkey, in your dream, it will follow you and they will give you stuff in your dream. It wouldn't work because it's not a real thing. You wake up, the pain is there. You will sell your car worth about $200,000 for $5,000, and you are happy that you got in that money to sustain and support that happy. So I am begging my listeners and that don't ever do the mistake that I did. I have seen women, when we talk about women, I've seen women I can describe as seductive brilliance of the woman with guitar shape, luscious and kissable lips. I have moved by the best women. I've taken women to Switzerland, I don't want to mention names, and I have slept at Grand Sheraton, which I paid $1,500 a day. Taking women to Venice. Venice is a city on water where you just go with a gondola, the boat, yes, with light reflecting on the river. It is what I call a kaleidoscope, paradise on earth, yes, all because I want to impress the women. But at the end of the day, yes, they are there for you. They will call you names, darling, honey, yes. But then, the day when you develop holes, they will call you Pepe because the magic is gone. They were there just because of your pocket, yes. And so, I will plead with you, you don't make the mistake I did. Today, there are places that I go, they look down at me from my foot where I have won 7-row suit. 7-row, they are in England. They make the best suit. Not the kind of suit people wear like carpenters show them. These are suits made by Italian tailors, and when they sew one part, they patch it up. Yes, you wear it and you see that, yes, you wear a suit, yes. And those days, when you put up a shoe, I'm talking about calf leather. Here, Kadin, yes. We didn't have China where people go and bring that kind of stuff. I wear rollers, date chronograph, automatic self-rewinding people. Yes, I bought for my girlfriend Cartier 18 carats studded with green emeralds. Green emerald is the highest form of diamonds. Yes, but today when I see the women, they tell me, hey, Jeff, is that you? They give me a gift of $50. Pride plays a backseat to desperation. You may say that, well, you have flexed these women before, you have taken them. I've never flown on Zongo on an aircraft before, not even Ghana Airways. I go with Switzerland, I go with Panam, and always business class, yes. I fly from Britain, that is London to New York with Concorde. I pay $4,700 there to go from London to New York, which is under normal circumstance, when you go by the DC-10 or the Boeing 747, will take you about 6 hours. But then with the Concorde, it will take you 3.5 hours. Yes. But then at the end of the day, you become so humiliated. You want to kill yourself. I've tried killing myself 2 times. It didn't work. Yes, I drove a car into a tree at a slowdown. It never worked. And then the second time I took Valium. The Valium I took 10 milligrams. I took about 20. But that day I woke up a bit earlier than I normally get out of bed. I said, well, stop fighting God. And at that time, I saw people who go to church like they don't have what it takes. That is why they go and hide in church, because I thought I was too smart. One time I told a guy, I'll feed you for the rest of your life. You can't compare yourself to me. God forgive me. When I see this guy today, he said, Charlie, take. He give me pittance, yes. And so I'm such an emotional and sentimental person that when people despise me, I feel so bad. The other day, I went to a church. Somebody invited me. When I walked into the church, what the pastor said, the head pastor who has given himself titles, Bishop, International, who brought this? Who is this man? Some kind of souls you can win. And I just felt so humiliated. I walk out of the church. Yes, but then, life is about what you make it. I wanted to be rich. I became rich, fabulously rich. But then, what use will it make when you are young and you are rich, and then getting to your 60s, you look like an AIDS patient, or you look like about 75 years, people despising you? No. It is better that you go through the meal, you struggle through the meal, and then at the end of the day, when you are getting older, yes, then you make it. Because there's a saying that the victor needs give no explanation, but the majority do not look out for circumstantial details, but for the successful and unsuccessful outcome. Almost without exception, people will pretend like they love you, but it is articulating a minor motive against an inarticulate major motive. They want your pocket, they want to chop you. And when they chop you and the magic is gone, they say bye-bye. And the kind of things they say about you, you hear it and you just want to take your life. But then, at the end of the day, I thank God that I'm alive. I still get these suicidal tendencies once in a while. But then, I really want to impart this free advice to you. If you take it, it's going to help you. Because the worst thing that can happen to you is not broken heart. It's when you get hooked to drugs. You feel so bad, yes, and you are hooked, yes, slave. You are a slave to it, and people will despise you. Your family will get humiliated. Somebody go to your sister to buy things in the shop and say, hey, I saw that your brother, the mad person. Come to think of it, do I sound like a mad person? But this is what drugs, and to quit it was not easy. And after quitting it, people will see you that once a thief, always a thief. Once a drug addict, always a drug addict. Yes. So I will appeal that when people are able to kick the habit, society should not neglect them, because when you start neglecting people, they say, well, after all, the world is neglecting me, even church is neglecting me. Yes, I'm not calling for sympathy, but it makes you go back and do the things you were doing. You say that, I don't care, it's not my relative. Somebody will go and move something from your car. Somebody will break into your car to steal your laptop and money, because they have cold turkey, and you are desperate, and you will do anything to support the habit. You don't mind stealing. When they catch you, they catch you. Yes, that is why in the advanced countries like Scandinavia, when you are a drug addict, you go and register at the drugstore, and they give you an artificial heroin, methadone, where when you take it, you get normal, not get high. But here we don't have that facilities. They take you to mental hospital, they give you Lagati, yes, and when they give you Lagati instead of Metadone, you become so stiff and you become like, as Aga people say, bulu bulu. Your neck becomes so stiff, yes, and before you realize, you get from bad to worse, yes. I really don't want to know. But then, if you have somebody, a relative or a friend going to drugs, or you intend to go to a drug, my friend, you are going to end up to be the most miserable person in the world. I can vote for it because I've been a drug addict for 26 years.
Wow, 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 wow. What a story. What a story. What a story. Well, this story we are seeing here. Now, the gist of the story is that this guy was a journalist, was one of the first Ghanaian journalists to work for BBC. He was so smart, he was so good, that BBC employed him from Africa to work for them. But greed, selfishness destroyed him. Because he was thinking, BBC is good, but it's a long time to make it big, salary, living on salary. He wanted to live a more selfish life. He loved himself too much. He said, love is not selfish. When you begin to be selfish, selfishness destroys you. But whatever we have had in this man's story, the same thing happens to every selfish person. Only on different level, but selfishness destroys you. And the church in Nigeria has been destroyed by selfishness right now. Those our bishops, they are being destroyed on a daily basis. You think they are doing fine. People who don't know the inside story, you might think that they are doing well, but they are actually being ruined. Anyone that is selfish, like just building his own life, building his own empire, just thinking about himself, about his own good, and thinks less and cares less about people, this is the rottenness that is happening to them. Now, I'm going to get you a comparison. We just saw how evil selfishness is, and why God says we should not be selfish. We should live in love, which is, being selfless, to prefer others above ourselves, and live a selfless life. Now, but let's hear what the churches in Nigeria are teaching. So, if selfishness is so destructive, you would think that all churches are supposed to be teaching against selfishness, and to deliver people from ego and from selfishness. But Nigerian churches, almost all of them, of course there are remnants, but most of them, they are only teaching the same selfishness that brings you evil and destruction is what pastors and churches in Nigeria are selling. Majorly, all their teachings are bordered around the person, the individual, your needs, your breakthrough, your miracle. It's all about self. Actually, they are destroying you. They are ruining your life. They are ruining your children's lives. They are ruining your destiny. They are destroying you. Message of selfishness destroys. Only love can cure it. Let's have a look at what a Nigerian pastor, typical pastor, is teaching about. And he's one of their leaders. He's one of the big ones. He's one of the successful ones. Okay, you want to give testimony. You have a speech of any one of them talking? We will later on talk about. On one hand, the pastors are talking about, they are teaching selfish stuff. So all the people in church, their whole dream testimonies about selfishness. Let's have a look at it.
A clip of only 5 minutes, and they will be closing in the service. By divine directive, this church is embarking on its next level sanctuary. Amen. It's 100,000 seat stadium-like sanctuary. in church history has ever embarked on it. But God said that is the next thing to do. By His grace, the local assembly is stood about 400,000 today. And so we can't even enter the church with one service, but we can start from somewhere. We have also mapped out 1,000 acres in the new Canaan city for this sanctuary. The 1,000 acres includes 500 acres for Shiloh camp, where people can have their camp, where every station we have a house representing their nation, where every state we have their houses representing their various states, and where we have tents large enough to accommodate people with dignity, so they won't have to be flying up and down when they come around for sheep. Amen. I'd like you to have a good dream to bed. So you have to watch this, and as you go to bed, you'll be dreaming well. It's been properly animated so that you can feel the life of this awesome design. Hallelujah.
You see, everything, you see, when, like we are talking today about, let's go to the topic, that love is not selfish. Love is not egocentric. Love doesn't think of itself. Love is not just living for itself. But with the church, that video we just saw is a typical example of what church life is in Nigeria. Church is all about self-aggrandizement, increase, more and more. And everything is God. God said that's the next station. God said that's the next stage. God said this. And I don't know how true it is. Somebody just said that they have even stopped that God now said they should stop the construction. They should wait or stop it. So, God said, and I'm sure they're going to stop it because I've been warning them that in the next 50 years, that all those structures for 1 million, for 2 million people will be empty. We will turn them to the Institute for Agriculture. We will turn them into storehouses because they will be empty. But at that same time, when they are talking about 100,000 seater, 1,000 acres, all these things, there are people in that church who cannot send their children to school. There are people in that church who cannot pay their school fees. There are people in that church who cannot eat 3 square meals. In fact, there are pastors in that church who cannot send their children to school. I know that for a fact. There are senior pastors in that ministry who cannot pay for their school fees, for the school fees of their children in that same school, in that same university. And then you want to use their money, and this money is coming from the same people who are poor, who need to be helped, and we still want to do self-aggrandizement and just expansion. What is that talking about? Love is selfish. Love is not selfish. Whenever you see any selfish love, there is no God there. There is idol there. It is idolatry. It is Satan. Satan is selfish, but not God. Love is not selfish because God is love. And love is not selfish because, God is not selfish. Philippians 2:3 says, let nothing be done through selfish ambition. You see, nothing should be done through selfish ambition. But what I see in most Nigerian churches is selfish ambition everywhere. Selfish ambition everywhere. Selfish ambition. This one want to say, oh, I have the most sophisticated cathedral. Oh, that one say, oh, I hold the biggest meeting in a year. Oh, that one will say, I have the biggest camp. Oh, that one will say, I have the biggest miracle. That one, it is all selfish ambition. Too much selfish ambition. Anywhere there is selfishness, there is no God there. Because love is not selfish. And who is love? God is love. Love is not selfish. So whenever you see selfishness, run for your life. There is no God there. It's not God. So when you are taking all your money and giving to those kind of projects and those kind of churches, they are killing you and they're still taking your money for it. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem others better than himself. Lowliness of mind. What does that mean? Esteem others above. That means that the interest of church members, others, must be esteemed above the projects of just bricks and brick and cement. Instead of building a bigger and bigger buildings, bigger and bigger projects, what about others? But in lowliness, in humility, esteem. Let this mind be in each of you. Esteem others better than yourself. Don't be thinking selfishness. When you become a Christian, you measure your Christianity by how much less you think about yourself, by how much you think about others, by how much you want to do for others, by how much good you want to extend to others. It is how much you are able to think for others, esteem others' interests, care for them, especially when these people are desperate. Especially when they cannot afford 3 square meals. In that country, the average is the poorest people in the world. Only $1 or $2 on average they live on. I mean, it is a disgrace. When people are so poor, so desperate, I mean, 10 million children are out of school, you just want to keep on building. Where is your conscience? Where is our conscience? Where is God? I mean, there is no way the Spirit of God is working in these people's mind and heart, and the Spirit of God will not convince them. I'm actually sure that these people have divorced with the Spirit of God. They have just departed from God's way altogether. There is no way this. I mean, these things are written in the Bible, not just even the Spirit of God alone. Even read the Bible. The Bible says true religion. If you want to think about true religion is to take care of the widows. True religion is to take care of the orphans. True religion is to go and take care of them. True religion is not how much size church you have. True religion is not how many buildings you have. True religion is not how many private jets. You know, to take care of, just to service one private jet alone in Nigeria, $4 million a year. That is just service. $4 million. So to maintain, every year you are paying $4 million for maintenance. Do you know how many people will be out of school with that $4 million? Do you know how many your widows and orphans will be taken care of? Do you know how many? And this money is coming from them. We are not even talking about the money you make for yourself without coming from people. But this money these churches have is coming from people. They are coming from offering and tithe and people's giving. And how can you be using that money to just be expanding, building your own empire and your own name? That is the height of selfishness. And that is not God. That's why I'm saying there is no church in Nigeria. I know there are remnants, okay? But there is no church per se in the bigger, larger picture. People are falling so far away from who God is. Look what God is saying here. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition. You want to tell me that the church you go to, there is no selfish ambition? You want to tell me that everything is not about them, about the church, about their ministry? You want to tell me that most of the projects they have is not selfish? Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness, things must be done for others. And the way it is done is by esteeming others above yourself. When we are selfish, we stop seeing the world in colors, only in black and white. Either you are for us or against us. Love is not bitter. Okay, let's go and see another test. I think whatever you want to say. Let's see another video. But maybe we shouldn't show the same church because we should do another one so that they don't think we're just focusing on them. So it's like people don't know God. That's why I'm saying this teaching we are doing about love is actually not just about love. It's a love series but it's about knowing and understanding God. This whole thing is about knowing and understanding God. But I'm afraid people don't just have an idea who God is. They don't know God. If they know God, they will behave differently. Let's have a look at this testimony here.
Praise the Lord. My name is Ms. Joy Ajayi. 2014, I had a topic operation in the month of July. I came here in the month of September, and they have told me that I cannot give birth anymore. And that is the Lord said that there is someone here that God is going to change his situation to laughter. And I said, Amen. So the glory of God, the second month of it, the month of September, I took in this David Saint. I named his name David Saint. This is the boy. The second one is Samuel. The second testimony, that is last year, January on the 5th. Today make it a year of this baby as a birthday. I give birth through operation. Behold, I was bleeding. The doctor, they can't do anything. 8 doctors, from 8 to 14, they are just looking at me. I told one of the nurse, please, go to my husband's car. There is calendar there. And I believe because I have a God of Adelaja is my mentor, is my godfather. I placed it in my tummy. I said, God of Adelaja, come and heal me. I don't want to die. I don't want someone to take care of this baby. Behold, the blood see. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Orúkọ mi ni Zacchaeus Molero. Ní year 2016, after Special Holy Ghost, mo gba ìpè láti UK pé wọ́n arrest ọmọ mi. Kí ló ṣe? Wọ́n lórí ìpè ọmọ ọdún 10. Mo wò ó kí ni mo fẹ́ ṣe lẹ́sẹ̀kẹ́ bó bá gbé lẹ́tà mo kọ lẹ́tà sí àwọn dáàdì. Dáàdì pè mí. Kí ló ṣe jẹ́? Mo ṣàlàyé. Wọ́n gbàdúrà fún ẹ pẹ̀lú wáìfù mi. Wọ́n á sọ mo fẹ́ lọ wò ó. Mo fẹ́ lọ sí UK. Mo mú òróró dání. Àkáṣìfò mo dání. Ìgbà tí màá dán wọn ní bí o tiẹ̀ ní mo kó wọlé láti lọ lò. Màá ní ẹ̀mí mọ́ kí ni mo fẹ́ ṣe? Mo wá mú òróró. Mo tú sórí mi ó pọ̀ dáradára. Scan wọn màá rí òróró. Nígbà tí mo wọlé àwẹ̀. Nígbà tí mo wọlé tí mo ti jókòó àwẹ̀ ṣé lóòótọ́ ló ṣe kínní kámọ́rú àdúrà tá a máa gbà ó ní dádì ṣé kò sí lédì nílùú òyìnbó dájẹ́ ọmọ ọdún 10 múlẹ̀ kí n gbàdúrà fún ẹ mo ṣe báyìí òróró jáde mo ṣe báyìí òróró jáde mo ṣe kínní ó gbọ́ wọlé mo pe Ọlọ́run Abraham Ọlọ́run Isaki Ọlọ́run Jákọ́bù Ọlọ́run Adébóyè Ọlọ́run Akédáyọ̀mí mo gbàdúrà fún ọmọ yìí mo embrace ẹ àméjì asokún mo jáde mo á lọ rí lọ́ọ̀yà mo ní ẹ̀yin lọ́ọ̀yà kí ni implication tó wà ní ọdún 25 years mo bá kúrò ń bẹ̀ mo á lọ rí mo tún padà dé mo lọ rí dádì ohun tí mo bá bọ̀ nílé yìí o dádì ní kí n lọ fọkàn balẹ̀ pé kò sí ohun tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ohun tó á ṣẹlẹ̀ tó á yà lẹ́nu pé ọmọ ẹ wá padà wá sí Nàìjíríà ní August bó ṣe dé gbàrà báyìí mo lọ sọ̀rọ̀ dádì gbàdúrà gbogbo méjèèjì lè báyìí pé Olúwa ṣọ́nà ẹ ní rere lónìí ògo ni fún Ọlọ́run lókè ọ̀run ọmọ mi wà ní ìlú Amẹ́ríkà báyìí ó ti ṣègbéyàwó ní oṣù 11 tó kọjá yìí yẹ̀yẹ́ mi Ọlọ́run ṣe kí ni ó sọ di ayẹyẹ Joseph jáde nínú ọgbà ẹ̀wọ̀n ó lọ di kí ni ọmọ mi kúrò nílùú UK ó kúrò ń bẹ̀ ó di èrò Amẹ́ríkà ó di citizen Amẹ́ríkà ẹ bá mi kí hallelujah mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run mo dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá mi ẹ̀mí kíkọ́ àtàlàáfíà Olúwa bá mi fi fún ọ ẹ bá mi yìn lọ́wọ́ lógo.
Have more testimony
thanking
there,
God
right?
for what
Before?
God did.
Stop. Okay, we have more testimony, but let's get the translation. He knows, he's a Yoruba boy. He knows Yoruba. Talk, interpret.
All right, so this was his testimony. He had a son in the United Kingdom, and his son was accused of raping a 10-year-old girl.
10
10-year-old, yeah. A 10-year rape, yeah, rape. So when he had the news, he called Pastor Adeboye, and after that, he flew to the UK. So when he got to the UK, he went with he took anointing oil and handkerchief. Yeah, but when he got there, they couldn't give him. I mean, they told him not to take anything along with him, so he couldn't go into the cell. So he couldn't go into the cell with the handkerchief and with the anointing oil. So what he decided to do was that he poured the anointing oil on his head. So he said he poured a lot of anointing oil on his head, and then the scan couldn't, stop him from going inside. So he got into the cell, and then he asked his son that, "Hey, son, did you really do this thing?" And the son said, "But Dad..."
He didn't say yes or no.
Yeah, he said, but he was like, "I didn't know other ladies,
who are older
than the 10-year-old lady." So he put his left hand and his right hand on the head, and he prayed for the child. Then after he prayed for the child, they cried. Then he left. Then he went to ask the lawyer, what is the implication of this case? And then the lawyer said, "Well, your son is going to spend 25 years in prison." 25 years in prison. That's like the penalty for that. So I don't know what happened, but he said he came back to Nigeria. We don't know what happened in between, but he said he came back to Nigeria.
When the court was going, the son also came to Nigeria.
Yeah, and so the son came to Nigeria. So he said as soon as the son came to Nigeria, he took the son to meet Pastor Adeboye, and Pastor Adeboye prayed for him, laid his hands on him, and said some prayers. So, but then the testimony is now his son is in America. I think he mentioned that his son married some months back, and that his son is now he's now out of prison, and his son is a citizen of America, and that God turned what would have been his sorrow into joy. That's
okay. Now let's go back to the original. Let's go back to the original story about. You see, let's start with the last one. This last one, can you imagine? Your son raped a girl. This is UK. This is not Nigeria. You know where are you? Come.
Yes, sir.
You know, rape is not an easy charge.
Yeah.
It's not easy to prosecute rape.
Yeah.
And for rape, for you to be prosecuted for rape, assault or sexual assault is different, or what they call it. There's something they call it when you are advancing. Sexual advances is different. Right. But rape is a very serious charge. Yeah. And especially if the person is 10-year-old. Normally a 10-year-old is supposed to be a virgin. So if she's raped, it means she was disvirgin, or she was maybe brutalized. All right. Now, for you to prosecute somebody for rape, it means there have to be semen or blood. There must be medical. This is in the UK, and I think people who are living in the UK will be able to tell us that has to be beyond reasonable evidence. Yeah. And he was sentenced to jail, so he went to jail. Well, he didn't tell us how long the guy was in jail. But for you to be sentenced for raping 10-year-old, and you are not acquitted, you are sentenced, it means they are not just circumstantial evidences. It means these are evidences that are beyond reasonable doubt. True. Now, of course, anybody can mess up. Anybody can miss it. And as parents, no matter what your child does, you still have to, if they see your child, you still have to pray for him. But what I'm saying is, see the kind of testimony people are giving. That, okay, DS, whatever, Bishop or whatever, Geo prayed, and then, but if he was accused falsely, okay, but he was sentenced, then he came out, now he went to America after jail, he served his jail term. So what was the testimony? It's still disgraceful to even say your son was raping 10-year-old. Well, what am I trying to say? Selfishness. Because it's me, it's mine. It doesn't matter the destiny of that girl. It doesn't matter the consequences, even the gruesomeness of this crime. But since he's my son, because everything is all about egocentrism and selfishness. Now, let's go back to the other story. This other lady, she already had children. Oh, stories are all testimony. Why should I even be telling you stories about Nigeria? Oh, you know testimonies in Nigerian churches. Everything is about egocentrism. Me. So I think we should listen to them. I think they all know more testimonies than me. But love is not about selfishness. And this is what I'm saying is that, you remember the story of the Ghanaian guy? Selfishness drove him from a career that was, amazing career. Selfishness destroyed him. My point is that selfishness destroys all the time. You might not see it, or it might not be so obvious, like the case of that Ghanaian journalist, but you might not become a drug addict, you might not become an alcoholic, you might not become homeless. But even if you are successful at these pastors, you are living a selfish life like that, you are still being destroyed, even if nobody knows about it. And then these pastors now, they are destroying all their members by teaching and circulating and all their teachings on egocentrism, selfishness, by teaching people to seek for their own good, for themselves, for their own benefit, about egocentric messages. They are the same ruin that we saw in the life of that drug addict, that Ghanaian man, is the same ruin that is happening in the life of all these people now. So they think coming to church is improving them, is actually destroying them. It's like selfishness is actually ruining them without them knowing. And they are going more and more, looking for more and more miracles, listening to those selfish for themselves. Whereas Jesus said, if you really want to serve me, you will deny yourself. The secret of greatness in this kingdom is to deny yourself. The secret of greatness in this kingdom is to live for others. But they are teaching them the opposite. It's all about you. So the I that you overthrew when you got saved, they are now putting him back. So that I, you are now the center of your life. And everything you have is all about, worshipping that I. And even using God to help you worship him and provide for the I. I don't know if you are getting the gist of the message, that the whole core message is God is love. God is not selfish. If we know him, we will not be selfish. If we love him, we will not be selfish. If we understand the way he operates, who he is, we will not be selfish. Selfishness belongs to Satan. He said, I will arise. I will, Lucifer. I will go up. I will. That is what churches are now doing. Churches are now a picture of what Lucifer does. Churches are no more a representation of who God is. I would like to hear your own comment on all this.
One scripture that really gave me a huge time understanding was the story of the man in the Bible who worked so hard and he had so many fruits. I mean, he had so many products. And he was like, I've worked so hard now, and there is no space for me to store my produce. I don't know if you know that story. Yeah. So I've worked so hard. Now I have a lot of fruits that I have for myself. Now let my soul find rest that I would. So the whole story.
Let me now take pleasure in my possession.
So, and the Bible said that God said, "You fool." That today that life will be taken away from you. I didn't get that story because I was like, but this guy worked hard for himself. He got all of these things for himself. But why is it that God is saying he's a fool? Then I understood, because then I began to read in between the texts, and I understood that the reason why God referred to that guy as a fool was because he was leaving everything for himself. He was not thinking about how what he has made will be a blessing to other people. So it was
because wealth, the purpose of wealth is not for self. Anything, any blessing you have, if you marry, it shouldn't be for self. Yeah. If you have children, it shouldn't be for self. But when you hear those stories about children, I had one child before, or two children before, and I couldn't have many more children anymore. And I began to pray. I came to GO, I came to church, that I can't have more children anymore. You have two already. You cannot have more children. What is the problem? Oh, and then I wanted to die. You should have died for you to realize in heaven that I wanted to even ask the question, These children that you are all giving birth to, what is the purpose?
Yeah, do you even know
What
why?
is the purpose? Do you even know why you are giving birth to those children? Anyway, you continue your story. I'm sorry.
So when I understood that scripture, then I understood that the end of selfishness is destruction. That any attempt to live for yourself, I mean, like you said, any attempt to just be self-centered, wanting to gain everything for yourself, living for yourself, this is for me, about me, and you are the center of your life and everything is revolving around you, it will end in destruction. And that was the moral of the story. That was what Jesus was teaching, that life should not be lived for self. And this is how we see it in most of the testimonies. I mean, viewers would recognize, would if they've been in church, they will realize that many of the testimonies in church are all self-centered. For example, you hear someone come to give a testimony that, you see, I was traveling from Lagos to Ibadan Express Road, and then there was a very bad accident, and like up to everybody died in the bus, but only me escaped.
The God of winners.
And the God of winners
has helped me.
Delivered me.
It is because I'm a redeemer.
I'm a redeemer. But and I'm like, no, you just said everybody died.
What are you rejoicing about?
But self.
People don't care about anybody else. This is what churches have preached. This is what churches are preaching in Africa.
So it's all about self, and that's what they sell. That is the selling point.
Selling point.
That's the selling
for
point.
The churches.
Yeah, that's the selling point. It's all about. I mean, let's look at even the names that they used to tag the programs.
Okay.
It's your night of my night of breakthrough, my night of wonders, my night of signs, my night of taking what belongs to me. Just to raise the whole idea of Christianity, the whole idea of believing in Jesus has been forfeited.
Is the opposite.
The opposite.
The direct opposite of who God is.
Yes.
Of what Christianity is all about.
The intention of God was that when you believe in Jesus, you dethrone yourself. I mean,
you just remove yourself to the
from
second
the equation.
Yeah, and begin to live for God and all that for people.
But now it's it's even plainly written in the scriptures in Corinthians that if one person died for all, then everybody that lives should live for him. But that's the opposite we see now.
Everybody is living for themselves. Pastors are hating them and helping them.
Giving them, the messages are focused on them. Everything, even the declarations. You hear declarations. The declarations about tonight is your night. You're going to get this tonight. It's all about me.
They are breeding greed. They are destroying, and greed always will destroy. Selfishness will destroy. Yeah. So they are destroying our country,
destroying our value system. You know, I was going to say this in my upcoming show. You see, I watched a video of a very young child. This guy should be less than 10 years old. And they asked this guy that what do you want to be in future? Do you know what this boy said? He said he wants to be a 419 guy.
He said Yahoo. Yeah, I want to be Yahoo.
Yeah. Huh? I want to be a Yahoo guy.
Yeah, follow the message.
Yeah. And I'm like, this guy, I don't know if he's a Christian or he's not a Christian, but this is the value system that is being propagated in church. And you might ask how? This is it. Gaining something from nothing. Wanting to just, this is you. So that guy is not even thinking about how he can be of benefit to...
No, even the bishops thinking of how they could be benefit. They are rather using people for their own benefit.
Yeah.
How can you see what the bishop is saying? We want to build these acres of land. This sitting, no church in the world. People are in that church.
And they are suffering.
I know for a fact, I know for a fact pastors in that church who cannot pay their school fees. My friends are sending money from England, from America to these pastors so that they will be able to send their children to school in Winners Chapel. They are pastors of Winners Chapel. and redeemed too. I know right now a redeemed pastor in America who is dying of cancer, and they cannot raise the money. They are saying everybody should be gathering five naira or $5 to help it. You know, they are building, they are giving offering for 1 billion. At the same time, they are building, they are building their empires. Ego. Or you don't know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I get it, because that's it. I mean, what would make a person already have that big building? You might see
He's not even thinking about people who cannot afford to go to school
at all,
who cannot eat,
hungry
in this same church.
People that are hungry, they can't even afford. They can't even afford one meal. They can't even afford one meal. I think we just saw the recent statistics that Nigeria has the highest level of poverty. That means an average Nigerian is not even living above $1.
And we are taking what structure? We are looking at cement and brick.
It's pathetic.
I think I would be okay if they are not Christians. Let them not be Christians. Let them just be ordinary human beings. But they are saying they are Christians now. That's what I don't understand.
Did you hear his statement? His statement was, I'm talking about Bishop Oyedepo, that there is no church ever in history that has built that capacity.
When people in your church cannot eat.
So his own goal is to build a cathedral.
Something that
nobody has done. I'm like, what's wrong?
Or university or something.
When people are there.
Or something they call 3 by 3 kilometers.
3 kilometer by 3 kilometers.
Yeah, that's what is redeemed.
That's the latest. That's what everybody's trying to do now. All of those pastors now, he's just trying to just build one big capacity, 500,000.
Where there are 10 million children out of school in Nigeria.
Crazy.
10 million. When you and your friends, Victor, Babishaye, Abiola, how many children? You have taken more than 30 children
out of school, even
out of the street.
Presently, even feeding people
every day.
Yeah, the last time we went out, we fed close to 40 people, and these are children gathering every Sunday close to churches, wanting to eat.
And church is just going to have
fun. And these people, they are coming. These children, they go around those churches hoping to get food.
And churches are just gyrating.
They're just having a slow time there.
You see, selfishness. Don't go. Wait.
Yeah, I'm here.
Love is not selfish. Why? Because God is not selfish.
Yeah.
When we become less selfish, you become more like God. When you become less selfish, you begin to understand God better. Love is not selfish. He said, let nothing be done through selfish ambition and conceit. Is it the description of your church in Africa?
This is exactly it.
But in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. Is that what is happening in the church in Africa?
It's just like
they are just like this. They are golico or whatever you call it. Opposite.
Directly opposite.
Is it not in the Bible? Or maybe it's not in the African Bible?
You know what I was thinking about? That these things are in the scriptures.
Are you sure?
Pastor, this is Philippians. It's in the Bible. Philippians 2. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition.
But pastors,
and Bishop wants to build a 100,000 capacity building.
Where there are people cannot go to church.
They can't go to school. They can't eat well. They are not even well dressed.
Orphans.
In need.
Widows. And then you see what God said, but
in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than
so
himself.
Bishop is supposed to be esteeming and exalting who?
These members.
Better
than himself.
Do we ever see that in any African church?
Nothing close. Nothing close. Nothing.
So God is talking his own. His disciples are doing their own.
They're doing their own.
Bible they talk his own. And believers in Africa are doing their own.
I mean, when you make a statement like there is no church in Nigeria, people think you're just being outrageous, and they think they're just saying you're just being. But these guys don't know God.
They don't have an idea.
God
is total opposite.
I mean,
God is total opposite from what they are doing.
And some folks will come and be saying, but these ones, they've been in ministry for 15 years. Who cares? This is just something simple. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition. This is what
Black and white.
I mean, just plain here. I don't need to even be 15 years in ministry to know this.
Then see you, another one there. Look at this one.
Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends.
So those pastors who are
Is the members that are laying down their life. Pastor, this scripture is only valid for the members. They are the ones laying down their lives for their slave masters. And that's the truth. They are the ones laying down their lives for the slave masters.
the 10,000, 20,000 members.
Yes.
They are laying down
Their life for just one slave master.
for one bishop.
Yes. That's what is happening. Oh, how come on.
But the pastors are the ones who are spiritual now. They are the ones who are supposed to be laying down their whole life for people.
As leaders.
Yeah.
Yes. But nope. That's not how it is. And that's the truth.
You know what one banker told me in Nigeria?
Yeah.
This banker said, he's a banker in Lagos, he said, Pastor Sunday, he told me that Ibiomoye has this one in his account. Adeboye, he has this how many accounts, but his own main account are not visible. But these ones, he has the ones that are visible, he has this amount there, he has this amount there. These people have billions upon billions. And this pastor said, the reason why he's telling me this banker said, he's paying me. I said, what did they pay you there? He said it's not that they have the money. He said, but the people, what those billions that those people are having, it is unbelievers, the Adelajas, and unbeliever Christians, unbeliever businessmen, that they give the authorization to come and be running, to come. They give them to go and multiply the money for them, to go and be doing business with the money. Church members need loan, they need assistance, they will also give it back, but they won't give, but unbelievers, womanizers, these are the people coming to take the money of this church. Now, but that is one thing. But he said what killed him even more than that is that when he's going in his car home after work, he knows how much billion that for the rest of the life of those GOs, that money would not even be touched. He said, still, when he's going to home, he's seeing all those members of those churches, redeemed, winners, all those churches, tattered. Old women, young girl, tattered, hungry. Hungry, they will be going for evangelism. They are going for evangelism from morning to night. Some of them are waking up 5 o'clock in the morning to go and do evangelism. They are hungry, they don't eat. Where they are stashed amount of money, billions of money stacked there in the hotels, and the Muslims and the unbelievers and the womanizers and the
money.
Yeah.
This is so sad.
And they are going to do evangelism, looking for the favor of God. That God will send them money to eat.
God. No. This is a huge disservice. This is just terrible. This is so terrible. And the thing about it is that the sad thing is the Stockholm syndrome that we have.
They just believe that those people are the saints. They are even next to God.
That's the problem.
They are the ones who will be fighting you now.
They will
be fighting me.
Yes.
For telling them the truth of what is happening.
And that's the truth. Those GOs, those guys can never suffer for any day in their lives.
No, we are even saying they don't know what to do with the money. The banker is saying the problem with them now is they don't know what to
do with that money.
So they are now finding unbelievers, sinners, to just do something they want to do with it.
Okay.
And some of them are just just messing up with the money. These are the $2, $1. They are those poor people, hungry people. They will not eat. They will be paying first tithe or whatever.
Yeah, first fruit.
First fruit.
Wow. No.
They don't pay. In Lagos, they don't pay house rent. And then they are molesting them and they are taking it to church.
It's very sad. And people are hungry. people are hungry, people are suffering. People are suffering. I mean, this is just sad. No. The church in Nigeria does not know God.
They don't have an idea.
They don't know.
God is.
No, not at all.
If you are going to look at characteristics of God,
Not at all.
they are just going the other direction.
Not
God
at
is doing this way, our people are going that way.
Not at all.
And people are fanatically going there, devoted to them. Deception. What deception can do. That's why Jesus himself said, beware of deception. Don't let anyone deceive you.
I think I don't know, dear viewers, I think you just need to share this video to everyone. I just wish everybody can just be here and even if you don't even believe it, just hear it. You understand? Because sometimes it might take you to come to that realization that this is the truth. But at least let it pass through your ears. Let it be that at least you got an idea that these people are milking you dry. And they are even destroying you because they are
what they are practicing is not Christianity.
It's not Christianity.
Christianity is love, mercy, service, kindness, denying yourself,
putting others above yourself. But this is nothing close to what we see. This is nothing close.
It's the opposite. The thing they go opposite. So he says, greater love has no one than this. So if those pastors and those bishops have love, let them show it now.
Yeah.
And they know the GGOs.
Yeah.
The greater love is supposed to be from them, and how they is supposed to be manifested by how much they give of their. They are all using all these cars, all these computers, all these. But let them lay now. Let them show me.
Yes.
In all these plays, all these things. Let them lay now. Let them down and let us see. Love will not walk in bitterness. Love is quick to forgive. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good, not the cathedral, not the universities, of your good works, and glorify your Father with you.
Something just came to my mind that these guys they're not nice. These people are wicked. They are evil.
They are wicked.
No,
it's not just that they don't know God. I think they are even
they are wicked.
Yeah,
they are wicked because with the amount of money that is in these churches,
those churches,
just with that amount of money, we should not have anybody
poor person in any town.
There should not be any. With those monies, there should not be anybody in Nigeria that is saying that I cannot get education.
Yeah.
There should not be any child,
and they will be bragging that they have more money than the state, than the government.
There should not be any. If their focus is on good works,
let them be competing, not for membership, not for cathedral,
but good works. No, Nigeria will be a different story. Do you know how many people are dying daily? How many accidents are happening because of the terrible roads? The money from these cathedrals can solve all the road issues. Just tell government forget. Redeem will settle all the roads. We are going to make all of the roads movable. It will settle all of the. You go to Nigeria, you see the roads there.
Even at least the road in front of your church,
area.
The Lagos
Ibadan expressway.
If the federal government just put money for it, if not for the federal government, nothing will be done.
And how many people died? The rate of accident on that road. There are many good works that can be done, Pastor. Some people say they can't do so much because they don't have the money. But that's not the case of these churches. They have excess.
Yeah. Like I said, the budget, the money. In fact, there is a statistic now that the top 10 churches in Nigeria, they have more money than the federal government budget.
Even the list of the richest pastors in the world.
It confirms it. Even richer than the Americans.
Even the people from Germany, from Australia.
They are nowhere.
they've done a good job stealing from
They
Nigeria.
overtake everybody.
Yes.
Nigerian pastors. We are the people who are the poorest.
I mean, it's just. I mean that anybody that can think should just imagine. Nigeria has the highest level of poverty. I mean,
The poorest people.
poorest people in the world, and their pastors.
Not even politicians, though. They are pastors are the richest in
Their
the world.
pastors are the richest in the world.
Better than even the rich countries.
That shows where money is going from.
And where money is going
It's
to.
going to. So money is going from those masses,
And they are remaining poor.
and they are going poor.
poorer.
And then the money is going directly to
To those pastors.
And that's the reason why they're. Don't tell me because of some business they're doing. Nope.
They are collected the people. Because the thing, if you are the one giving to me all the time,
Well,
you'll be poor now.
Yes.
And if I'm the one collecting from you. So the money is still in the circulation.
Yes.
Only it's leaving the masses.
I'm going to this. And that's it. And even if those men of God even had understanding of good works,
No, they will every Christmas.
they will share. They are gaining close to 1 billion in a year, and they will just go and share $100,000, and they will say it's work. And then some of the members will say, but look at what our church did. Our church shared rice to 500 people, or shared rice to see. Come and see with the small road at our church. Did you guys kidding me? Do you know how much you guys get?
Thereby releasing themselves and the enemy from bondage. Okay. I want to see another scripture here. Let's read this one.
Matthew 10:37. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
So the thing we should be loving more
Is God.
but in all these testimonies, my child, my pregnancy, my son. Let's see one of those. I think we have another. Is it another one of the GOs talking or the testimonies? Okay.
I mean, Pastor.
They are being taught to love all things,
All things.
else apart from Him.
Apart from God.
So those things that God said, don't love who?
That's what you should love. Who?
That's what pastors are saying you should love. You go to church to learn to love those things.
Yeah. And that's what makes a lot of people actually end up, depressed. Because they get to lose it. Because the Bible says, whatever you try to keep, it's just a principle. Whatever you try to keep, you lose it. And that's why many of them, they lose their children, they lose their jobs, and then they get disillusioned. And they're just depressed because, but this is what I've been trying to keep all these years. And I thought I was going to come to God for me to help to keep these things. So they come to God thinking God is going to help them in keeping those things, and they don't know that that's the principle. Whatever you try to keep, you lose. So they end up losing it, and many of them like, this God is not real.
Wow. Let's have a look at one of these other testimonies here.
My name is Philip Fubara. My testimony is on divine intervention. I was imprisoned in 2013 for election malpractice. I never knew Christ, but as I began to hear Papa in the Port Harcourt prison, even on screen and the outreach ministers, I keyed into the praises and I began to praise God. And yesterday, I gave my life to Christ, began to praise God. And this week, God raised somebody who I never knew, came and perfected my bill and set me free. Without paying any money, I want to return all the glory to God.
My name is Oluchi Davis. My testimony is on protection. I traveled to Aba, Ariara. On our way coming back, reaching at Inye Junction, our bus got accident, and immediately 4 people died. I remember that Papa said there shall be no loss. I key into it. I say I will not die. Then they rushed us to hospital. After them, 5 more people died. But I'm standing here today to return glory to God, the Ezebube, who restored my life.
My
My name is Priest Kalala Alison. I have been on medicated glasses for over 12 years now. And after coming to church on Thursday, I had a communion and I bought Power in the Name of Jesus. And I went home, I was reading it without my glasses. And right now I can drive without my glasses. I can read comfortably without my glasses.
My name is Carlo Mabel. My testimony is God's favor and healing. God's favor, my former place of work never gave me the privilege to serve God the way I wanted. So I met Pastor Bismo. He said I should just pick the service unit from which I did. And I dropped my resignation later at my former place of work. That same day on my way to church, I got a call from a place I never applied for to come for an interview. And when I got there for the interview didn't hold. She just gave me the job. And since then, I've been enjoying God's favor. And also, I've been able to serve God the way I wanted. I return the glory to God. And on healing, I've been using inhaler like all my life. So during June, week of spiritual empowerment, I told God I don't want to use inhalers anymore. And I got this quickening to trash all the inhalers I had. I got home, I trashed all of them. And since June to this moment, I've not had need for an inhalers.
So, what is wrong with these testimonies? No.
It's still self, sir.
Huh?
Everything is still coming down to self.
Self-centered.
Everything.
Self-centeredness.
Everything is about self.
The gospel of self.
That's it.
In fact, the gospel in Africa should be renamed the gospel of self.
It's all about self. It's really all about self. All of the testimony, there is none of talking about how, how God used them to, cause an expanse in the kingdom or something like that. Nope. Everything was all about self, starting from the first guy to the last guy. And even some of those testimonies, like, I didn't even know they were going to talk about the accidents.
It was like you were saying.
No, like what I was saying. And this was the accident testimony. And people are going to be saying, hey, thank God, he saved you. But one person, and she mentioned 9 people died. God saved one person. But I'm not even using 9 people. People don't even recognize it. The only thing they say about the 9 people, but that one person that was escaped, thank God.
They are church members now.
Because they're church members. Self. Or this lady, this beautiful lady too, that she didn't send her resume and they called her from.
And because you want to work less. She doesn't want to work. She wants to work less so that she will go to church to serve.
To be attending church. Then
that is serving God, attending church.
When she was working, didn't allow her to go for her church activities, and she resigned. But how do we?
Someone will go and also resign without getting.
So when she didn't apply, they got her into the place, and then she's enjoying divine favor. She didn't even have an interview. So now people listening to this testimony. No merit. So people in this testimony now, God, I don't even need anything.
So God is just like no due process.
Yeah.
God is just God that against rules, against standards, against due process, against qualification, against merit.
So
against processes.
This is just all selfish. This should be so crystal clear to everyone. Just go and sit down. You're going to have a whole great deal just hearing self.
What about the handsome guy also with the glasses?
That's a catastrophe.
You are a medical doctor. I think you tell us what they happen for that one. The guy don't throw them away. But I have known a lot of guys like that who threw away their specs, their glasses, and now they are back. Only they didn't have money immediately to buy a new. So they have to walk like 2 years or half a year without glasses and losing everything, or eating their head and nose. And before they go back, I think I will go and get this.
I think as a matter of fact, it comes with the lack of knowledge. What is there's no stigma in you having a pair of glasses. That you wearing a pair of glasses doesn't even make you less of. It doesn't even mean anything. So, but because of the whole self wanting something miraculous to happen, you understand? just wanting something for yourself, just for yourself. And then you had your glasses, you threw it away, and now you can drive. I mean, what is the guarantee?
You return back to it in half a year or 2 years.
Well,
okay, maybe it could be a miracle, but
it could, but that's not even, that shouldn't even be like
it's a big deal.
I mean, what's the big deal?
It's all about self. Well, let's look at another video here. Maybe we could learn some more lessons from another one here.
I came in 2015 firstly as an international visitor. Since from then, things were not moving before. But since from then, God has been with me. Today is my 12th as an international visitor coming here. Before I know God of Major One, things were not moving well in my life, in my family. I had an electrical business as an electrical contractor in my hometown, Sheffield. Things were not moving. I was driving Skolokolo cars. Things were bad. People were talking lots of things. But since I came as an international visitor and met God of Major One, has changed my life tremendously. Lots of things that happened to me. God has blessed me with so many things. Firstly, He blessed me with a car, Mercedes A45 AMG. I am a sport cars fan, but God also did something also again. He gave me 2 houses, the one in town, the one in my I love God of Nature.
You what?
I build cash these houses. The other one
Continue your testimony. So car, house, go ahead.
God of Nature One is so amazing. I love God of Nature One. The only thing that mostly when I meet Papa, when we saying what we wish, mostly I tell Papa I love him. Because I understand there is something that is happening. Mostly we go to Nyanga, and when we're supposed to go to God, we count how many we come. People, they waste their things going to Nyanga. But since I met God of Major One, has changed my life. God has blessed me with a beautiful creature in the world. My wife, Tabangile, she's the miracle worker.
So, what would all the unbelievers here in Europe who have houses, bigger houses, or who they buy house left, right, and center, cars? I mean, people buy cars on credit and all right, left, right, and center. So what would we say about what would they be doing? Eh? Okay, what do we say about this one testimony here?
This is just so sad. First, let me first tell you that. Do you know there are many of these testimonies? They are screened before they come out.
Okay. They even prepare the photograph.
That's a proof for you. I've heard stories of people wanting to give testimonies and they are denied of coming out to give the testimony.
It's not powerful enough.
Yes. And many of these testimonies, you come, you tell the testimony, oh, this one is not good, go away. This one is good.
He was saying something, the God of
Major One.
Is it Major One? It's not pronounced like that? I thought it was saying Mashakwasha, Makakwasha, Mashakwasha.
It's got a major one.
Major one.
Major one. That's Bushiri. But it's just crazy that
I was
people
surprised
say,
to say Bushiri there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you have a car, you have a house, you got married. What achievement is that? I mean,
it's ego. Everything is about ego. It's all about ego. Me.
And they prepared the photos.
Yeah.
Just raising
selfishness. That's why we must get that. You remember I advertised a book about love. What is it called? Ayo Akerele.
Akerele. That's Driven by Love.
Driven by love. I think, but all these books, are they driven by love?
No. Myself. Myself.
We need to send that book to Nigeria. Driven by self. We need, this one is, instead of driven by love, we need to send that book to Africa and teach. We need to teach believers all over again on how to be driven by love.
And look at the response from the church. People are just so excited. Saying, when will my own time come too?
So the gospel of self.
Yeah, just all about me.
You want us to hear something again? Okay, they want us to hear another story. I think she has a lot of them.
That's the status quo.
I was thinking I should just run over.
Praise the Lord. Amen. We are Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Petu. We got married in 2009, and after we got married, I conceived and the pregnancy disappeared. That was when I knew that there was a problem. In between 2009 and 2011, I had nothing less than 6 miscarriages. I was asked to forget about anything baby. When I came to Shiloh 2011, I reluctantly walked into the Father and Mother of All Nations class without anything, just to mark register. When I got there, Mama said, you are too young to be stressed. I said, this is my word because I don't like stress. So I stepped into the world, January to June, nothing happened. I told God, Shiloh is coming. Confirm your word. In July, I conceived, and in April, I gave birth to my first child. After 2 months, I took in again. And I brought the pregnancy to Shiloh. Before then, there was the Shiloh pre-counter service, which I didn't attend. A family friend came to the house and said, Papa declared that 3 months, too much, double portion. I keyed into it. When I came to Shiloh, I had no prayer request than 3 months, too much, double portion. I started praying, and in my 9th month, it was just a baby, a boy that was seen. Till the day of delivery, I delivered my first child. That was my son, and they said, congratulations. I said, no. Papa said, it's double portion. They said, madam, I'm going to clean you up. Please, congratulations. I said, double portion. He said, to satisfy your conscience, push. And I pushed, my baby girl came out. I came to return the glory to God. His name is Samuel, because I asked him from the Lord, and this is my precious burial. Praise God.
Lift your hand to Jesus Christ, the God of Shiloh.
Praise the Lord. I don't.
Maybe somebody will comment. No.
Double portion. My name is Joseph Wahi from LFC.
I don't understand it.
Maybe you want to help us out there. What's happening?
I mean, what happened?
I don't understand.
Was there an ultrasound? And how many children were? I mean,
you are a medical doctor. That you are the ass.
Like, I'm trying to understand how.
You are the medical doctor.
Yes.
So how is it that a medical doctor?
I don't know.
A whole hospital. We say there is only one child there, and then you have given birth.
And they say just to satisfy your conscience, push,
and
then you
from
push
nowhere,
and
there is no something, no ultrasound. What are the processes of going to?
You know, even prior, I mean, before getting to the 9th month, during the prenatal care, you go for several checkups, and from those checkups you do ultrasound, and from the ultrasound they tell you how many babies you have, either 1 or 2, and then even during the birth process, during the delivery process, when the doctor delivers the first child, you understand? I mean, you don't just clean up. There's stuff that you do to the.
What about the umbilical cord? Is the umbilical cord with the first child or the second?
Oh, second child.
So if they have cut it and they want to kill her off, the umbilical side is supposed to remain with the second one. Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I'm moving. I'm like, how will you just say because Papa said double portion? I'm like, what is this? So you said double portion.
So it's the same with the same thing. Papa could also said pregnant. Without you sleeping with a man. You don't need to sleep with a man. Papa said now.
Yeah.
I stand on the double 3
months. I don't know if she will say
double portion.
Yeah, 3 months, 2 months, double portion, something like that.
So it's a mystery for you.
As now I'm shocked. What do you mean? I'm like, who is that doctor? We should even slap him.
That doctor?
Yes, doctor. How would you? No, you don't just. No, you don't just close up. I mean, you don't just. There are things that are done. Even when the doctor is done, the midwives are there also to take care of. I mean, so are you trying to say that the doctor forgot that there's a baby there or what? Or after the first delivery, then no, it does not add up. Because I mean, there's a way we even check the presence of children. It's called the Leopold's maneuver, that we can
even without the ultrasound.
Without ultrasound, we can know how many. I mean, you can know the position of the child, where the child laying. We can discover that from the palpation, from palpating the woman's. We can know, oh, this is one child here, this is another child here. I mean, a child is not a small needle that is inside the uterus of the mother, and that we cannot recognize it. That's a 9-month-old baby. It's obvious. That's a baby that is weighing close to. I mean,
okay, you could still say, okay, when they are 1 month,
yes,
2 months, or
that's
3 months.
weighing close to 3.5 kilograms. That's like the average. Oh, yeah, an average weight of
3 kilograms.
3.5 kilograms. That's the average weight of a baby. I mean, normal baby. That's not just one small thing now. Come on. So you just say because it's double portion, then just one magic happened. They said just push, just to justify your conscience. Come on now. Don't we have thinking human beings this place?
And then she said also about how is it that she didn't know. Nobody told her previously that she's having twins.
Yes.
And she said, I'm not going to stand up. No, I refuse.
It's either she knew that she had twins, but for me, I mean, it's even telling me something about the whole medical system, because, I mean, if she knew she had twins, how did she know she had twins? Is it because of what pastor said, or she done ultrasound? And even the doctors, I mean, you don't just... No, the story doesn't make...
No, but the thing they are trying to sell to us is that the baby was not there.
And they
that only at that point, when she said, what is it? Papa said.
Yeah, Papa said so. Yeah, double portion.
Yeah, so Papa said double portion. I think the baby just came from nowhere. Yeah. So he didn't have 9 months at all to prepare. The baby just had 9 seconds, maybe.
To just show up.
To just show up and appear.
But come on. We're in trouble. And then the purpose I also tell you that, wow,
we are powerful.
Wow, we said it.
Yeah. Egocentrism. All of them are egocentric.
I mean, if these people, their brain is, there are some testimonies that are meant to like come. Is that a testimony? They're meant to even question some of those testimonies. You know, if their brain is working, they're meant to question many of these things. But no, it's like this one. I was like, and even some of our stories between 2009, 2011, she had 6 miscarriages. How?
From?
She said she had 6.
What?
2009, 2011.
2 years.
Yeah.
In 2 years, 6 miscarriages. So she was getting pregnant
in an average of 6 months.
Yeah, every 6 months. Maybe it's possible. It's just like doing abortion.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, I know the psychological impact of having one miscarriage.
Okay.
You know, you don't just go. You don't take in. Carrying a child for 6 months, then you lose the child. Nah. You take no. You don't just. I mean, you can't take him back to back and have miscarriages like that. No.
But she also just had a baby, and then 2 months later she got pregnant for another one too. So everything about her is miraculous.
No, this is just. I mean, it does not add up. It does not add up. It's just. No, it does not.
They are fooling people. But the whole push is for people to know that. But it's all these miracles are still egocentric.
Yes.
That we can do it, we can give you miracles. And then it's so, why can't they become miracles? No, testimonies of people becoming something.
Yeah.
Why is that people, we talk testimony about people fulfilling
purpose. People doing things.
Yeah.
For the kingdom.
Yeah.
Changing the society. Yeah. Changing the nation. Those testimonies, no. It's just testimonies about some supernatural.
You get something, you have to get something, receive something.
For yourself. So we have.
Do you have the notes? I think I'm tired with these Nigerian people. I think we should just open the telephone line if you people don't mind. I think I'm done. So you got the message. I think you people got the message. The message is, love is not selfish. But we have a question here. After my yesterday's message, somebody was asking a question.
Okay.
And we addressed it a little bit in Ask. But I would like to address it for people, maybe the person here will listen to it. The question is, because after yesterday, I was talking about truth, that, people can come to God through truth. He said, what truth are you talking about? This is from yesterday's message. Because Muslims, Buddhists, etc. also have their truth. What do you mean by the truth? Okay, first of all, I would like to say the truth I was talking about yesterday is Jesus. Jesus is the truth. But what I'm talking about is that Jesus says he is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the truth means, Jesus is saying himself. Can you come, please? Let me help me to come and preach. Yeah. Jesus is saying, look at me. Mm-hmm. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So the way is the way we already know it. Come out to receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Mm-hmm. We Christians, we know him as the way. But then I'm not only the way, but I'm also the truth. Okay, so my answer to these people who are asking is that the truth I'm talking about is not, I'm not saying that anybody will be born again. Everybody can just come to God, even if they are Buddhists or they are Muslims or something. No, I'm only saying, Jesus said, through me, you can only come to God. And I am what? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, I am love, I'm life. So through me. But he didn't say I'm only the way. But what we know is that the way we know is to receive him as Lord and Savior. But he's saying that apart from that, don't just put me in that box that I'm only the way. Some people will get to know me through the truth, but they are still getting to know him. Some people will get to know him through love, but they are still getting to know him. So at the end of the day, you can't come to God unless through Christ. But Christ could lead you, could appear to you. You could discover Christ not just as religion, as the way. So what I was talking about yesterday is that Jesus Christ is the truth. Imagine him without religion. Can you? I think most people cannot imagine God without religion. People don't realize that God is not religious. People don't even realize that Jesus is not religion. That Jesus didn't start Christianity. That Jesus transcends religion. Jesus transcends Christianity. That is why he said, I'm not just religion the way that you know. I am more than that. So I am also truth. So people can discover truth and discover Jesus through the truth. People can discover light and discover Jesus through the light. People can discover love and discover Jesus through the light. But it's still the same Jesus. So it is still through Jesus that we can come to God. But what I'm saying is not that you can come to anything, believe anything you want through any religion you want and come to God. What I'm trying to say is that can you try to imagine truth without religion? You will not recognize it. Most of us can only conceive God or Jesus in religious package. If you remove him from religion, it's like he's not Jesus anymore. What would you like to say about this?
That's true, because the concept that we have of someone who believes in Jesus is how we've been taught.
We've been taught.
Because for us,
one dimension.
The dimension of validating that you have been saved is that you came out for the altar call, or you were ministered to, and then you said those and you made you said the sinner's prayer. Dear Lord,
then you're a Christian.
Then you're a Christian. So now that's the perception that religion religion chose the way parts, and then they point out a way to do it that would make you feel like, okay, yeah, you are saved. But then, like you said, let's picture Jesus without that way. I mean,
everything is lost. It's like nothing happens.
It's just like you tell someone that you don't have to be in church. I mean, you don't have to even say the sinner's prayer to validate that you are saved and you know Jesus and you're in a relationship with Jesus.
People will say no.
They cannot understand. But there's someone who, because Jesus is the embodiment of truth, like you said. And there are people that believe in Jesus because they discovered the truth
through another way.
And they didn't do it through our religious way. They
might not even know.
They might not even know about
they have released Jesus. They don't even know what you are talking, because it's a different terminology.
Exactly. So, but our own stereotyped way is the only way I can certify or I can judge that you are born again is because you said, and they ask you that when was the day you were born again? I was born on this day because I said the sinner's prayer on this day. But there's another person there that did not even use your own approach.
He didn't even go to church.
He didn't even go to church.
And he's still going to heaven.
And he's going to heaven.
Like the thief.
By the side of Jesus. And even the question is, this thing we're talking about is not, you are the one having a relationship with Jesus. So how can I even estimate you?
You're not with my own personal relationship.
It's your relationship with God now.
So what to concern you?
How can I judge and even know
if I'm having it or not?
But it's because
you live for my heart.
Yeah, it's a heart. I mean, but this is just because religion. This is what religion has caused. It has made us think that until you come out for the altar call, after you come out for the altar call, then the bishop or the pastor now says the sinner's prayer, and then you repeat the sinner's prayer, then you feel saved. Like now you have believed in Jesus. And anyone who does not go through that same process that religion has taught you is not saved. But Jesus is saying that I am the way. You can, that's your own way is not wrong. It's okay, you can do it like that. Yeah. But I'm also the truth. I'm also love. There's no one that functions in love, that would not discover God.
That even said, anybody that knows love knows God. And God he has been born of. He knows God and is born of God.
He does not have to come to your church. That's what Christians don't understand.
Or sinner's prayer.
Or it doesn't have to say the sinner's prayer. Jesus is the truth. Anyone that walks by the truth has fellowship with him, with me. That's what the Bible says. He who walks in the light, he who walks in the truth, is in fellowship with me. So if there's anybody that walks and lives in the truth, even if he has not stepped his leg into any church, even if he has not even said any, even if he does not have a pastor, even if he has not even paid any
If I not have even opened the Bible before.
Before, that's the point. but a religious man cannot grasp this.